Hi guys, very excited to do another version of Get Local with Genesis. We're on our way down to City Hall to meet Mayor Tom Dyas, who's going to give us perspective on what it's like to be mayor, talk to us about some of his projects he's working on and maybe some challenges, and overall talk about what's happening in Kelowna. So I'm pretty excited about that. We're gonna take him for lunch to Erica Jane, and we're gonna meet Chef and the general manager there, part owner as well, and find out about their business that was founded a few years ago and see how they're doing in business. So Mayor Tom and I will be having lunch together there, and really excited about this version. So, Fiona, how are you?
Very well.
Are you the person that keeps Tom all organized?
I'm trying.
Hey Tom, how you doing?
And that's a challenge all on its
There you
own,
go.
believe
Good,
me.
good. Thanks
John,
for having
great
me.
to see
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Great to see
Come on
you.
in.
Please.
Love to sit down and
Please.
see what's happening in your world, Tom.
Please grab a
He
seat.
looks like you're working on some.
Well, we were working on a few things this morning, but I
Yeah.
thought it was also good just to kind of, take a read through on some of the things we've done in the past, because I thought
Yeah.
we'd have a good discussion around
Yeah.
all of the different things happening in
Yeah,
the city.
absolutely. Tell me some of the big things that have happened. I know obviously we got the airport and some of that, but what's been kind of keeping you busy?
Oh, the airport, the expansion on the airport has been just unreal. I mean, opening up the new departures lounge, and then
Yeah.
getting the 1,000 car parkade going, and then the new 5-star hotel.
I've
It's
been
gonna
in
be
there a
pretty
few times,
spectacular.
and it's a lot easier now to get in and out. So that's a big plus too.
We were in there and trying to imagine how everyone fit into that smaller area now. When you look at how full that whole
Yeah.
departures lounge is, it's pretty interesting. So yeah, it's great. It's
Yeah.
good. That's one of the major ones that
How
we're
long a
dealing with.
project did that take? Like, what was all involved in getting that sort of done on your end?
It started originally back around it's probably more than 10 years ago.
Okay.
From a planning standpoint.
Yeah.
And then there was plans on looking at doing starting the development prior to COVID.
Okay.
And then everything got put on halt.
Right.
Just because of the uncertainty of the numbers at the airport dropped off substantially.
Yeah.
There was uncertainty with regards to delivery from a construction standpoint.
Yeah.
And so everything got held until after we were, in a position where we were starting to recover from that, and then they started to advance it. And I mean, it's been amazing what they've been able to do in that time frame. The interesting thing about it now is that gates 8 and 9 at the very end, we are now working on establishing the plans on how we expand that.
Oh wow.
So new gates are opened in that particular area, so that we can potentially bring in larger aircraft.
Yeah.
It's,
So did you have to work with the sort of the provincial governments and stuff like that then to kind of get that finalized and get going?
Well, you need to work with the federal government from a standpoint of making certain that you meet all the levels from an aviation standpoint. But from a capital funding standpoint, no. It's
Oh, wow.
all the Kelowna International Airport, 9th busiest airport in Canada, and it is all municipally owned.
Okay.
So when we look at advancing and building upon that, it is done outside of any type of
I bet you a lot of
provincial or
people don't
federal
know
funding.
that.
Yeah.
I personally thought it was part federal and provincial funding.
No.
I didn't know that.
No,
Wow.
we would love that door to open wide so that there was an opportunity. And I think that right now, that's where when I was in Ottawa just a couple of weeks ago, I was back there to look at the federal government assisting us with development into the East Lands.
Yeah.
And also the provincial government, because we need about $46 million in order to carry the infrastructure over to the East Lands. And we are asking for contributions from the federal and provincial government to assist us with that, so that we can open that up for business.
Yeah.
We can open that up for more type of industry to come along those areas. Right. So that portion, yes, we're asking. But with regard to the expansion, no, it was all done internally.
Yeah.
There's a ton of things moving forward before we even start to get into transportation and infrastructure.
The populations kind of grew a little faster than the infrastructure. Would that be fair to say?
That'd be fair to say.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and again, it was kind of one of those items or one of those lines that we used for the first time in over 30 years. This council is building a road.
Yeah.
We've had infrastructure grow, or we've had populations grow, but we haven't
Yeah.
had our infrastructure kind of keep up in certain areas. So we're looking at building, new roads in order to kind of do interconnectivity from one neighborhood to another.
Yeah.
Perfect example of that is Birch.
Right.
And then obviously the Cement Crosstown connector that we're working on,
Yeah.
which takes vehicles out past
Right.
some of the businesses that you own out in those areas.
Yeah. Nice. What do you find is what would you tell people your biggest challenges in the position?
I would think the biggest challenge, interestingly enough, if you look at our budget,
Right.
and you go through our budget, there's basically 32 different sections that is incorporated within that budget.
Right.
Everything from water to sewer to roads to transportation,
Yeah.
all of those items are
It's a balancing act.
fit within a municipal budget. The one area that probably doesn't fit within a municipal budget that is a cost to a municipality is crime and safety.
Right.
And so we do budget for our CMP,
Right.
we do budget for bylaw, we do budget for those services, but it's all of the outside areas that we don't budget for. So when we look at what myself and council's, one of our greatest concerns is making certain that we're doing we're able to do within our lane to deal with, the crime and safety issues that businesses and residents are affected by.
Yeah. I guess part of that would be the homeless and everything like that. Do you think that's is it getting better? Is it stabilizing?
One of the big things that we did when we came into office was we were successful in starting to build tiny homes.
Right.
And through connections with the province, we were able to advance 180 tiny homes within this community.
Good.
When you look at that area, you have basically people who are living on the streets.
Right.
Then you have shelters.
Right.
Now we have tiny homes.
Yeah.
And then they transition into either going home to where they, if they're not from here, or they look at employment, or they look at some supportive type of housing.
Yeah.
So it's building that structure that we've been successful in looking at doing. There's a certain number of individuals in this community who are looking for a better place in life.
Right.
And what we're trying to do is build the structure so that that path is there for them.
Yeah.
Regrettably, there's a certain section of the population which has mental health, addictions, or just lives in a world of crime.
Yeah.
And those are areas that we're not built for as a municipality to be able to immediately address, yet there are costs associated with regards to this municipality. And we did a little bit of a study a year or so ago, and the cost was, in excess of $20 million.
Wow.
For the services associated with regards to all of those areas.
Right.
And that's outside of that's not tiny homes or anything like that, because that's a totally different structure. That's dealt with from the provincial government.
Right.
And then when I go back to kind of the 32 items in our budget, that's not a line item within our budget that we're dealing with, but it is an expense that we're associated with.
Tom, what's with the football? I know BC Lions are coming to do a thing at Kelowna, aren't they?
It is, and Nathan signed that one for me when he was here.
Nice.
Just announcing that they're coming to our community. It's going to be it's going to be in a very exciting 10 days.
Yeah, it's going to be nice.
We looked at economic impact from a community standpoint, and when we look at the Briar, the CCMAs, the Memorial Cup,
we got some
BC
big
Summer
events
Games,
happening. Yeah.
and we're uncertain of the numbers, but collectively, this event, if it holds true using the same metrics, could have as much of an economic impact to our community as all of those other events in total.
It's not very often you get the Memorial Cup and a big game like that, so
But
that was big.
again, that's what we've structured the teams within here to aggressively
Bid on it and stuff.
go after them.
Good. Well done. That's awesome.
So this over here, I don't know if you know.
Okay.
Are
Tell
you
us.
aware of what they're doing here?
No, tell me what they're doing here.
So this is our brand new Kelowna sign.
Oh, wow.
It will spell out Kelowna, and it has different colors associated with regards to it.
Okay.
But so it's going to just basically, again, used as
something which individuals, when they come and visit, they can take a picture beside and just show exactly where they are.
Yeah, talking about the data a little bit with Kelowna, like what does the data show you as far as, you know, business and inflation and the economy right now on what you're seeing the first quarter?
And breaking it down into different sections. So if we were to look at the area of development, housing, and those particular areas, there is obviously some concern that buyers are not showing up to buy new properties right at the moment, that there isn't you know, new type of home developments happening within the community. So this is something that from an internal standpoint we are taking a look at right now and seeing, okay, is there an opportunity, is there any opportunity to look at assisting this particular industry? We did a number of years ago when I came into office. Our vacancy rate was just below 1%. Our vacancy rate right now sits about 6.5%. And some of that was helped by the structuring that we allowed for. If someone builds a rental property, they receive an allowance on taxes for a 10-year period. So it allowed some of those projects to pencil out, and it allowed them for developers to look at advancing them. And that, alongside of other things, has been one of the key things that advance that area. So now we're looking at seeing, okay, how do we continue to help? There's a whole bunch of things out there in the economy that you know that are affecting these. And again, the municipality only has a certain lane available. We're seeing if we can assist in that lane.
Well, some of the people that watch this might want to know about Tom the person. I know you have 3 kids, right?
Yes, I do.
And one of them, I think, took over your business, your benefit business, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about the family and you as, you know, person, what you like to do, sort of outside work, and a little bit about yourself?
I have 3. I have a 38-year-old, a 36-year-old, and a 34-year-old. My 38-year-old, she's in Toronto. The 36-year-old Lyndon, who took over my business. I'll circle back on that one in a sec. And then the 34-year-old Dylan, who works actually for the city. He worked there before I ever came into the city. You know, and he's, you know, went through and got horticulture degrees and everything, and works in parks, and so it's a good career path for him, definitely. Lyndon took over my business. So I am now, I'll be licensed 40 years next year in the finance and insurance industry.
And the benefits.
So I started way back in the, you know, 86, 87, and have kind of grown it ever, you know, through that period of time, and was concerned a little bit coming into this position whether or not you know, how I would manage both, whether I'd be able to, you know, 60-40, 50-50, 70-30, but I got really lucky. He is amazing at what he does. He's you know, he's really good with you know, the people we work with, the clients we have, and I got really lucky. So he basically manages that 100%, and you know, to a great degree. The people don't even ask to see me anymore. They don't even need to see.
Well, we're coming up to Erica Jane's here, so the chef and the owner are going to meet us and tell us a little bit about their business. Before we stop, though, I was wondering if I could get the big scoop on your terms coming up. Are you ready to make any announcements yet?
You know, I like anything, and can appreciate from a business standpoint, you being in business. I never had any idea of what this was truly like when I was going to be in here. And it is
it's a challenging job.
It's a big job. It's a big job. You need to have, you know, some good solid basic, you know, ground structure to go into it. So I've really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed working with the leadership team to advance things. So not ready to announce just right at the moment, but you know, I've had a positive experience.
Nice. I'm gonna be the first one you tell, right?
Okay, perfect. Perfect. We got it right here on camera. Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Good.
Good to be.
Phil, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm John Carkner. Nice to meet you. Good.
I grew up in Toronto.
Okay.
So I grew up in Toronto, and I played actually
you know, I had my time in a little bit of the OHL playing back there, just for a bit. And then I decided that it wasn't, I wasn't going to kind of advance that as a career or anything along those lines. So I went back to school, and at that time it was called Ryerson. So I went to Ryerson, and I also went to Ryerson for business, and I went to George Brown for culinary because I wanted to manage hotels.
Oh, nice.
That was the plan.
Yeah.
And then I ended up going through and getting my red seal as a chef.
Yeah.
And then the Ontario government was looking for individuals to come out and work at the Ontario Pavilion during Expo.
Okay.
So they
That would be
hired
a good experience.
They hired myself and a few other individuals to come out and run the Ontario Pavilion. And through there, so we did that, and then through there, Delta Hotels hired me to be their executive chef. So I went on to be executive chef at Delta Hotels, and fantastic industry.
Is that what brought you to Kelowna?
No,
with Delta or no?
No,
Okay.
it was. I was up in Whistler.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was close. Umberto Menge at that time was opening up a new restaurant down in San Francisco.
Oh.
And because I knew them up in Whistler with Umberto's and Trattoria, we were potentially looking at going down there and continuing the career. But life just changed. There was all of a sudden family and decisions around family and going to have children and things of that nature. So I exited the hospitality industry, and got into the financial industry.
Okay. Every chef kind of has a go-to. What's your go-to that you still?
Linguine vongole. I mean, linguine. If you're like a really nice linguine vongole is one of the things that I really like. I enjoy lamb done really well. Fish is probably maui maui.
So you still like to cook a lot then?
I cook. Yeah, it's I do.
Yeah,
I do. Yeah, I still cook. As often as I can.
Right. Nice.
Time
That's
allows.
awesome.
Yeah. All the major meals I still cook.
There you go. So when
it's good.
When the family's over, you're putting on the apron, eh?
Yeah.
There you go.
So this goes back to kind of what Kelowna just got recently, which is the UNESCO designation.
Yeah, that's going to be big.
For our whole region, we're just sitting right now with a committee of us, and it involves Okanagan College, because they were one of the West Bank First Nations and the city, along with Tourism Kelowna, to try to figure out exactly what that does mean to the best advantage of the community and how we continue to look at marketing that. But
we already have some great restaurants, but I imagine there'll be a few more coming out of that. So.
Well, this is an amazing one, without a doubt. This is an amazing one, and to learn more about it, it's really going to help our economy.
Doing good.
That's
great.
Very well, thanks.
Good. Mayor Tom.
Welcome to Erica Jane.
Come sit down and sit down and join us. Tell us a little bit about Erica Jane. We're here to promote local business, and love to hear a little bit about your guys' last few years starting out and how things are going, and anything you can tell us about Erica Jane.
Absolutely. So Erica Jane just enjoyed their third birthday.
Nice.
And so the team celebrated last week and hosted a bunch of friends and family and guests and things like that. So awesome. A wonderful way to sort of showcase what we're doing and what's coming down the line.
Nice.
We're right down on the waterfront here, and we have a great selection of seafood on the menu, some great steaks and other entrees and things like that. And, try and provide a bit of an upscale environment, but, welcoming to all. And
a lot of higher end restaurants like this aren't always open for lunch. So when did you guys open for lunch?
It's always been part of the plan.
Okay.
Since day one.
Nice.
I think hopefully there's people strolling the streets, especially in the summertime, and they want to come on in, and we serve our full menu all day long. So
what do you recommend today? Any go-tos here on the menu? Like what yourself personally, what do you like? What do you like on the menu?
So like I said, we've got a great selection of seafood on the menu, and oysters is a big part of what we do here. A fine way to start a meal, or depending on your appetite, you can go wild if you'd like. But oysters are great. We've got a West Coast chowder on the menu, and I think before it's 40 degrees outside, that's a good time of year to have
that was catching my eye.
Hearty bowl of chowder. And other than that, we've got great steaks on the menu as well. So again, depending on your appetite, it could be anything from
lunch today.
Steak sandwich for lunch, perhaps.
Okay.
A nice chimichurri, house-made focaccia, and nice
very nice.
garlic crema with that. So.
Okay.
Very nice.
And if you are really hungry for lunch, we've got a porterhouse on the menu, and it's 2.5 pounds. So
Wow. Yeah, I noticed you
pound and
got
a quarter
That's gonna
each. So
carry you right through dinner.
you have
I
some.
think so.
Just looking at this, you got some A5 Japan Wagyu here as well.
right.
Too,
So yeah, on our menu we try to accommodate anyone. So we've
Right.
got a burger if you're going to the hockey game, you're in a rush or something like that, and then we've got A5 Wagyu from Japan, and so it's a pretty extravagant treat. Just nicely seared, and we don't serve anything with it. It doesn't need a sauce.
Okay.
A little
Nice.
flaky Vancouver Island finishing salt, and that's all it needs.
How do you
So,
find the demand for it? Good?
yep, and I think usually it's a group and they want to try something special, and so they'll
Yeah.
share a few ounces each, and seeing the reaction on their face the second
Yeah.
that you take that bite, it's pretty amazing.
Wow.
Good, right on.
Yeah, that'd be a nice experience. That'd be a
For
really
sure.
nice experience for a night out.
It's unbelievable. I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat all this here. Thank you so much.
Unreal.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Please enjoy.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything. Great to kind of
We'll hit the
share
course
some
for
time
sure.
with you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Okay.